Hello everyone. Again, I am Dr. Architect Parthasarathi Mishra. So this is the third video in the series of multi-criteria decision making analysis. Today we are going to discuss about the understanding the analytical hierarchy process. It is a commonly used method. In short, it is also known as the AHP. So these are the contents of these presentations. First of all, introductions to the AHP. Secondly, the AHP model structure. Third one will be our mathematical foundation of AHP. Steps in AHP process is the fourth one. Fifth one is our software tools that can be helped to calculate and evaluate through the AHP process. And lastly, the sixth point, we are going to discuss about some of the case studies and applications for the architecture, planning, and interior design projects. So next is the introductions to the analytical hierarchy process. What is AHP? The basic questions. The definition says AHP stands for Analytical Hierarchy Process, a structured technique for organized and analyzing complex decisions. When we can call it as a decisions or some kind of issues, a complex when we have multiple alternatives with multiple parameters. We have to judge different alternatives with the help of different parameters. When we'll have a along with that we have multiple stakeholders who can take decisions, then it will automatically complex. So this process, the AHP process, was developed by Thomas L. Satie in 1970s. The major key features for AHP are like this: AHP process involves decomposing a problem into a hierarchy in the sense of parameters. Suppose we have level 1, level 2, level 3, up to n number of levels we can do in a framework or the structure, which also doing a comparing elements pairwise. Elements pairwise means we have variables, we have parameters, we have attributes, we can compare one by one. Then at the end we are going to calculate the weighted score. Weighted score is nothing but the level of importance of the parameter, for which we can know which parameter is more important than the other, so that while selecting any of the alternatives we should more focus on the parameters. Along with that, it is a systematic approach for the decision making process. So next is the importance of AHP. Obviously, decision making and problem solving. AHP aids in making well-informed decisions by breaking down complex issues into manageable parts, allowing for thorough comparison and analysis, ideal for researchers mastering for decision skills. So whenever we have a problem, well, we have to face problems for taking decisions, then this AHP process is generally helping us. And this process again, it is breaking down the complex problem into smaller doable things, doable problems. Along with that, we have a problem solving nature, and this is one of the importance of analytical hierarchy process. Using this AHP process enhances problem solving abilities by providing a clear framework to evaluate various factors systematically, beneficial for academic and real world problem analysis. So most of the agencies, most of the companies, most of the institutions are dealing with this AHP process, and it is a very common MCDM process, that is the multi-criteria decision making analysis process. Next is where we can apply this AHP process, mainly through business, where we'll have to find out the strategic planning, the resource allocations, project prioritizations. Resource allocations means suppose which kind of material at what time we have to provide to the constructed workers, so that they can use them in a proper way or in a optimized way, helping students to understand its relevance to corporate decision making scenarios. Along with there are some of the government agencies are also there, for which AHP is very much helpful. AHP supports the governmental policy making during the policy making, which particular parameters or alternatives we have to focus, the government has to focus, then they have to do. During the urban planning level, they have to make some policies. Again, government has to provide the resource allocations or the resource management, illustrating to students its importance on public administrations and societal development. So which kind of the quickly they can do this kind of analysis. Now, in most of the educational fields, educational professionals like our like teachers, professors, they are using AHP for curriculum development. Curriculum development means when suppose there we have to give some kind of credit or weightage to a particular subject. So how much credit we one should give to a particular subject through the AHP process also we can do through the stakeholders point of view. For different stakeholders different decision options are there, so we have to collect everything and we have to make in a systematic approach, so AHP process helps them in that way. So showing students how it can optimize education processes and outcomes. Suppose one student has a problems in decision making after the bachelor's of architecture or interior design or any other subjects, how they how what kind of higher educations, whether they will go with the fields, whether they will do some kind of research work or they will involve in some other projects. So these are like the different alternatives are there. Now we have our own base, we have our own parameters. So according to that, we can calculate, or students can calculate for their future what kind of prospects they will choose. That is one of the applications. Now the AHP model process. Now in the process of AHP, the problem definitions. Now identifying the goals, setting criteria, determining alternatives. So what is our goal? Clearly outline the objectives of the decision making process, like for which purpose we are going to perform this AHP process, ensuring it is specific and measurable. Um, the goal will guide the entire AHP model. So we have to have a particular aim. For that aim, we have to divide that aim into different objectives so that it will be easy for us to calculate the uh, best alternatives or the optimized alternatives for our decision making process. Now, setting criteria. Determine the criteria that will use to evaluate the alternatives. This should relevant and important factors directly impacting the final decisions. So there is a something called identification and selections. Now we can identify through literature that these are the parameters which can help us for our evaluation purpose. But at the end, whether all these parameters are really applicable to the decision making process, that we have to check. If something like if some parameter is, suppose we have 20 parameters and one of the parameter is only contributing 1% in the decision making process, so it will be easy for us to eliminate that particular parameter so that the calculation process, the cost, the time factor will be optimized and we again take a proper decisions for that. So selecting criteria is most of the important thing while doing this AHP process. Now the determining the alternatives. List of all possible options to achieve the defined goal. Each alternative represents a potential solutions to the problem of the hand. Suppose we are going to select a car for our buying. So again there are again we have to check the first criteria, like the budget should be in between 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. If suppose one car is 1 crore, so this that car is automatically we can eliminate from our list. So all the possible alternatives means whatever, now we are confused with 5 or 6 alternatives of cars which we are going to buy. Some cars have different fuel efficiency, some car have different mileages, some of the cars have different cost factor is there, some have horsepower is there, some have the ground height clearance is more, some have good wheels, some have different colors. So again, different alternatives. So we have to choose among which cars we are going to buy. So automatically we are going to eliminate the below cars, below 10 level 10 lakhs car, and above 20 level 20 lakhs. The cost of the cars should not be more than 20 lakhs. The car of the car should not be less than 10 lakhs. So it is a range so that we can select 5 or 6 alternatives for which we are going to evaluate. If our budget doesn't permit, so we automatically eliminate that alternative from our evaluation process. That is one of the most important for determining the alternatives. Otherwise, our calculation will be heavy, the time will consume more, it will be cost effective, it will be, calculation wise, it is also a lengthy process. Now, pair-wise comparison. This is the one of the unique selling price of this particular AHP process, analytic hierarchy process. Like in this particular method, we are dealing with the one-to-one comparison among the parameters or attributes or variables, whatever you can say. Now, rating scales. Introduce a numericals to scale to assess the relative importance or preference between criteria or alternatives. This scale typically range from 1 to 9. 1 is equally importance, 9 is extremely importance. So there are two parameters, for example, P1 and P2. If we can say P1 is more important than P2, now we have to ask how much it is important, whether it's one time important. One time is both the parameters have equal importance. If it is three times, then we can say P1 is equal to 3 P2. Like that, we have to define a scale, and that scale is nothing but 1 to 9. 1 being the equally importance, 9 being the extremely important. So this particular scale is given by the Thomas L. Satie, and the scale is known as the Satie scale of fundamental scale. So next is the constructing the comparison matrix. After giving the rating scales by the different experts, now we have to make a comparison matrix. Create a matrix where each element represents a pairwise comparison of criteria or alternatives. This matrix helps in quantifying subjective judgments for analysis. So we have to make a comparative analysis. Like in one side we have to give P1, P2, P3, 5, P5. At the top also we can give the same parameters in a sequential way, P1, P2, P3 and P5, like that. So when we will compare one to one, so P1 in comparison with P1. So when we are comparing with the same parameter with the same parameter, it definitely it has equal importance, 1. Then P1 versus P2, P1 versus P3, P1 versus P5. After that, P1, not we are not doing the P1, P2 versus P1 because we have already done P1 versus P2. Now we have to compare with P2 versus P3, P2 versus P4, P2 versus P5. Now for P3, we are not again going with the comparison with P1 and P2 because we have already compared with P1 and P2. So for that, P3 versus P4, P3 versus P5, like that, we'll have a comparison matrix at the end. So next is the synthesizing the results. Synthesizing the results means we have to analyze the result, we have to reevaluate, rethink, and we have to give a particular instance whether the results are whatever results we have calculated, whether they are going with the uh, whether they are good enough for our decision making process or not. First of all, calculating the eigenvalue. Eigenvalue, calculating eigenvalue of the comparison matrix to check for consistency. For example, one of the experts, we have three parameters, suppose A, B, C. So consistency, checking the consistency among the experts means whether the consensus among the experts are there or not, whether they are saying the same thing or not. Suppose some of the experts are saying yes, then we have to consider it. If some of the if all the experts are saying no, then also their consensus. But when some of the experts are saying yes and some of the experts are saying no, then there is a problem with decision making. So at that time we can say we don't have any consistency among the experts. We don't have consensus among the experts. For that, calculating eigenvalue is one of the most important factor for in the process of analytical processing. Now deriving the priority vectors. Using the eigenvalues, derive priority vectors which indicates the relative weights of each criteria or alternative. These vectors help in ranking the options systematically. Now using these eigenvalues, we can find out the relative importance among the parameters. Okay, relative importance of the parameters means we have suppose five parameters. So among which one is the most important parameter? Again, at the same time, I want to say that if we'll calculate the weights of the parameter, then when we are combining everything, the total will be equal to 100% or equal to 1. So next is the consistency ratio. Compute the consistency ratio to ensure the pairwise comparison are logically consistent. A lower consistency ratio indicates a more reliable judgment. Here again I want to give an example of ABC. Suppose the three parameters are there, A, B and C. Then we can say if some of the results say A is greater than B and B is greater than C, or in other terms in our AHP language we can say A is more important than B, B is more important than C, then it is automatically we can say A is more important than C. Suppose as we are a human being, we are doing with some type of calculation error will be there. So if error says C is more important than A, then there is a problem in our calculations. And at that same time we can say we have a problem with the consistency. And where we'll get this consistency? Where is the base? Whoever is giving relative importance to the parameters, there is a pairwise comparison method is there. If some of the experts are giving A is more important than B, it's okay, no problem. If some of the experts are saying B is more important than C, okay, no problem. Some of the experts say A is more important than C, okay, very good. But maybe one or two experts are thinking in a reverse way. B is important than A, C is important than B. Then there will be a conflict among the experts and the result will not be giving the consistency result. Then we have to cross check and we have to find out where we have made the mistakes and where we have to find out the solution. Okay, now we have to see the mathematical foundation of AHP. Now we have to deal with the mathematical things. Okay, very good. So eigenvalue and eigenvectors. Eigenvalue and eigenvectors are critical in understanding matrices in the analytical hierarchy process. The selection will define them and describe the step-by-step calculation process. So these are the steps. So evaluating the relative importance of parameters through the analytical process, that is the AHP process. First of all, we have to define the problem. Define the hierarchical structures of the problem. Like suppose we have to find out y. Y is nothing but a combination of x1, x2 and x3. Again, x1 is a combination of x11 plus x12 plus x13. Again, we can say again another level like x11 is a combination of x111 plus x112. Like that, we have a different calculation, and we can say it is a hierarchy. Three level hierarchy, two level hierarchy, one level hierarchy, and the end we have a index value. So that we have to finalize. In some of the cases we are giving like first level is the lower level is the parameters, next level is the subdimensional level, then we can say dimensional level, then we can say the final index value. Final index value is a one particular variable. Okay, next below that we have a structure of 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, then each 3 to 4 we have again 2 to 3 variables, and something called independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variables are we can calculate them or we can measure them in a single instance. Whereas dependent variable, it is a combination of two or more independent values. So again, independent dependent values, again we will have three to four dependent values, then independent values, then the index value. So there is a hierarchy basically. When we'll deal with a example, we can learn or we can understand in a better way. Now, again, for each level of parameters, we have to construct the pairwise comparison matrix. Then, computing level of importance of parameters and subdimensions. For this, I am giving three level hierarchy level. Then, checking the consistency between the experts. If all the judgments are consistent, then we have to go to the next level, that is our all level are compared. Then we have to find out the which alternative is the optimized solution for our problem. Otherwise we can go with the again defining hierarchical structure of the problem, then constructing the pairwise comparison matrix, then level of importance of the variables, attributes, parameters. Then again we have to check with the consistency among the experts. If everything is okay, if we'll achieve the consistency level, then finalizing the level of importance for further calculations. So this is the uh, methodological framework for a finding out or evaluating the relative importance of the parameters, or in short we can say weights of the parameters in the AHP process. Now the adapted, as I told you, adapted SETI fundamental scale of measurement, which is given by Wind and SETI in 1980s. This is the table where 1 is considered as the equal importance, 3 is weak important to one over the other variables, 5 is essentially or strong importance, 7 is the demonstrative more importance variables strongly favored, ninth is absolutely importance. We don't have any doubt. The evidence vector matrix one parameter over another parameter is one of the highest possible order of affirmations. If you don't know or in between we have a problem, then we can also use 2, 4, 6, 8 in the table. Uh, Reciprocal of the above non-zero if parameters I has one of the above non-zero numbers assigned to it compared with the parameters, j has the reciprocal value compared to with 1. For example, a is 3 times more important than b. So obviously we can say b is 1 by 3 times more important than a. That is the case. So, and this is the mathematical calculation step. And the equation 1, we can say this is a pairwise comparison matrix where ai by a j are the relative weights of the I for the parameters j given by the experts giving the fundamental scale of SETI, where n is the number of parameters or subdimensions and aij is equal to 1, or aij is equal to 1 by aji, and aij is not equal to 0, where aij is the ith row depending upon the column j. Similarly, we can say w is equal to, it's a summation of all weighted values, and w1 plus w2 plus till the nth value, where ij is the weight of the ith parameter. So these are the calculations. I'm not going into the detail of the calculations process. Again, there is something called random index. So if we have to compare with the consistency ratio with the number of variables. If our number of variables are 3, then we can go with the ri value is equal to 0.9. If our number of variables are 9, then we can say ri value is 1.45. Similarly, if we are having more than 10 variables, then we can say the maximum ri value is 1.49. Like that we can do all our calculations for the AHP process, and at the end we can say okay, this is the relative importance of the parameter, where we can say we have relative importance of the parameters, and one parameter is more important than the other parameters. Now, steps in the AHP process, as we have discussed, identify the decision elements, construct hierarchical frameworks, then performing pairwise comparison, assigning the relative weights of the parameters in a scale of 1 to 9, then synthesis of the priority, aggregating the individual judgments, adjusting the inconsistency as I've shown you in the table. Uh, if we have any problem with the consistency level, then we can ask to the experts, please re-evaluate your pairwise comparison metric so that it will be easy for us to get the consistency. Suppose we are asking 10 experts and we can say one is A is 3 times important than B, and one of the experts says A is 9 times important than B, and at the end we can say our p value is less than, it's more than 0.05. That means we have a error of approximation which is 5%, which is more than, uh, in the calculation process we found that our error is more than 5%. Then obviously we will not get the consistency level. Then we have to find out which particular experts had given a different consensus value. So we have to approach to that experts and we can say, so these are the values we are getting from the other experts. Can you reevaluate your, or can you give the another comparison metric so that, or please tell us why you have a particular thinking about one parameter over the other parameter and you are giving such kind of values. If they are giving some kind of, you know, in their defense they can say something, then we have to convey the same things to the other jury members or the experts, so that at the end the main purpose is to get the consistency among the experts. If we think one of the particular person is our experts and they can give a comparison matrix, then obviously we have to uh, go and get the clarifications why this kind of values they are giving, and that is always there. So it is always a, you know, when we can say the methodology will have always have to go to the first or second steps and we have to go all the calculations. At the end we'll have to find out the results. Our results are more important, and during the process we have to go to the experts through mail, through personal, through, you know, different communication, telephonic communications, and we can say, sir, these are the different results we are getting. How come we are giving this particular value? If is there any, you know, particular reason, then convey us what is your thinking about the when we are doing the pairwise comparison metrics. uh, what is your thinking why this particular parameter is more important, whether this particular parameter is more important then how we can go about these calculations. So it is always, you know, it is always to have a good number of experts in our research so that they can give us a particular solutions for that also. Now again, after discussing all these things, how we are going to perform this particular AHP process, what are the software tools are available in the market so that we can easily perform the AHP process. Obviously one of the best what I can think is the Microsoft Excel, where we can see the process, you know, step by steps. At the same time we have two different softwares which are readily available, that is, one is expert choice. Expert choice is a professional decision making software that supports ASP by enabling users to structure decision problems, measure criteria, and evaluate the alternative efficacy efficiently. And the second one is our super decision. Super decision is an advanced decision support tool that implements the AHP methodology, allowing users to define complex decision hierarchies, problem analysis, and visualize the results. So these are the two softwares which are readily available for analytical hierarchy process. At the same time I can say one of the tool is um, 1K, that is a survey questionnaires. From the survey, again there are, like, we have Google form, Microsoft form, but 1K is a one kind of a form where we can perform the sentimental scale uh, comparison metrics also. And obviously we have Tableau, we have Jamovi, we have um, different softwares, Power BI, but at the end I can say Microsoft Excel is the one of the best uh, tool for doing all these calculations, because in Microsoft Excel we can see the step by steps. In this particular softwares like expert choice and super decisions, uh, we are providing the values. However, the process we cannot see. We are only seeing the end result. So it is also good if you know the result. If you get the result, then we can go ahead with our all calculations. So I'm not defying or anything, but there are up to the researchers or the students how they can perform their AHP process. So how to use the AHP softwares? Setting up your model, then running the analysis. In the setting up the model, you have to involve different decision hierarchy, input criteria, sub criteria, alternatives, structuring them logically for analysis, and running the analysis entails conducting pairwise comparison among the criteria and alternatives, analyzing consistency ratio, and synthesizing results to determine the best decisions to get the best alternative for our purpose. The Yes, obviously, whenever we are discussing about any kind of MCDM process, we have pros and cons, merits and demerits, so benefits and limitations. Efficiency gain. Efficiency gain includes the rapid evaluation of complex problems, improved decision making accuracy, and the ability to handle large amount of data swiftly. So it is a process where, as we are dividing the whole process into uh, in a hierarchical process, so the below level we have to calculate first, then we'll go to the next level, at the end we'll get the index value. But some of the people are directly doing the whole calculation and they are getting the index value. So it is a very difficult process to handle more than 10 variables at a time. So I can suggest, whenever you are doing AHP process, don't go with more than 10 variables. So it will be very difficult for you to handle all these calculations, or I can say make the 10 variables into two groups and give some factor name, and you can perform the AHP process. And the potential drawback or the limitations is like that involves software learning curves, the need for high quality input data, and the possibility of user bias affecting the decision outcomes. Suppose one of the, we have soft corners about some of the alternatives. Suppose we are mm, going to buy a particular car. Whatever process we can say, some of the experts have their own biasness or the soft corner about one of the company. Suppose one company is more towards the Volkswagen, so they will automatically select all the best quality and they will give. So there will be, there will be a biasness among to select the pairwise comparison. Like, while we are giving the pairwise comparison, they have to think about the alternative and they will give the results accordingly. So there is always a possibility of biasness among few of the experts, to which automatically give a different role and different mm, weightage level, or the level of importance of the parameter will be changed. For that, again, we'll have different analysis like sensitivity analysis and consistency ratio analysis. So these are there, but again, at the end, it will be very difficult us to get the robustness of the values and evaluation process. So next is the case study and applications. As I told you, project selections, business decision makings, project selections, how we can do the uh, business decision makings, like evaluating the potential benefits and the cost criteria, the risk factors. This helps organizations focus resources on initiatives with the highest potential returns. And again, with the resource allocations in the business decision making, understanding how to allocate limited resource effectively is to key to maximizing the productivity and achieving the strategic goals in a competitive business environment. So one company is going ahead with our company, so what are their parameters, why, on which basis they are taking decisions. So again, if we are following the same parameters with same level of importance, can we achieve that kind of goal? That kind of analysis we can do in our analytical hierarchy process. If we'll go with the public policy and government, what kind of things we can do, like policy analysis involves systematically comparing the options and projecting outcomes. So our what will be the outcome? Suppose we have decided, pre-decided that if we'll do, then five kind of outcomes will be generated. So which outcome will gives us more benefit in terms of policy making, in terms of economically there should not be any environmental hazards. So the best course of action and public interest we have to judge as a government thing. Next is strategic planning. Strategic planning in government involves setting up long-term goals, identifying priorities, and allocating resources. Again, as a planner or as an architect, we always deal with the this kind of short-term goal, long-term goals, whether it is a project, whether it is a 1 year plan, 2 year plan, 5 year plan, it's a master plan for 20, 30 years. Then what kind of, which particular sectors we have to give priority, like whether it is with education, whether it is with defense, whether it is agriculture. So according to that, we have to make our master plan. So which priority we should give? Now, in this case, our all agriculture, educations, and all these things will be alternative. For that, we have different parameters. So we have to judge, we have to calculate through the AHP process, and we can say these particular parameters are more important than the other parameters. So we have to, while making a master plans, we have to consider these parameters more important than the other parameters. That is for public policy and government. Next, like personal decision making analysis, obviously, whether we'll go with the higher studies, career choices, what kind of studies we'll going to deal, whether accessing the personal strength, market demand, and potential growth, opportunity to guide career path decisions. So again, we are a single persons, but we have different alternatives, whether we'll go for the master's program after bachelor's degree, whether we'll do PhD directly after the bachelor's, after the NEP, national education policy, this can be also possible. So what we'll do after bachelor's of architecture or planning or interior designer? So there are so many alternatives are there. Now we have to find out our strength, our, you know on which parameter we are more focused, whether it is our own budget, whether our budget is permitting or not, or whether we can earn more or not after doing masters. If your earning is same with the bachelor's level, then there will be no benefit for that. So again, there are so many involvement of parameters and mm, alternatives in our career. So investment decisions, after getting money, what kind of investment we can do as a personal decisions, whether we'll go with the financial of different, whether we have FDs, whether we'll go with the fixed deposits, whether we'll do invest in the um, SIP, mutual funds, whether we'll go with the long-term goal, long-term tax saving fixed deposits, whether we'll invest in share market, whether we'll invest in real estates, whether we'll properties, whether we'll invest in gold. So we have, again, we have different parameters to judge what kind of requirements we'll have. Maybe I need money after 15 years during my education for my daughter or my son. So these are the things we need to take prior decisions, prior, as an alternative and parameters, and we can take our decisions accordingly. So that's it for now. Thank you. So if you want to contact me, you can, all these details are there, along with I'm always available, and I'm made my YouTube channel open. You can comment it. If you have not yet subscribed it, please subscribe it. Please like it. And if you have any problem with my presentations, please comment it also, so that I'll try to develop my presentation skill, and for the betterment of the education field in the architecture, planning, and interior designers. Thank you for now. We'll see in the next week for another videos. Thank you.